Hello, my name is Bennett Wilson. I am going to be doing the unboxing video for FTE 217. I'm just going to be going in the order that it's shown in the unboxing tutorial in the module. So let's go ahead and get started. So first up on the list, as it shows on the module, is the buffer spring, buffer, and this is just part of it. So obviously this is the buffer extension, and that's the first piece. Next up on the list is the stripped lower receiver. I inspected it when I first got it. Everything looks pretty good. Moving on to the next part. So the next thing on the list is the barrel nut and shims. I looked through the entire box and I do not see any shims that were included with it, but that should not be hard to find at Ace Hardware. I'll just have to make a trip over there and find something that'll work for that. So that shouldn't be too big of a problem. The next major piece is the barrel, which appears to be either stainless or chromed, which is going to look very nice. There's that. I meant to put this down at the very beginning of the video, so it's just here now. So next up on the list of parts is the bolt catch assembly. We have the actual bolt catch itself, the plunger spring, the plunger, and the bolt catch screw. So everything is where it's supposed to be. Next thing on the list is the adjustable car stock. I don't really have a lot to say about this. It's a stock. Next up is an A2 style charging handle. Next is the AR-10 bolt carrier group. I inspected it earlier. Everything is where it's supposed to be. Everything seems functional. You can see all the parts there. Got the firing pin. Everything seems to be working as intended. The next piece on the list is the ejector port cover, the cover spring, and the cover hinge pin. I don't want to take it out of the bag because, although actually, yeah, it's resealable. Never mind, I'm just being a spaz. So there is the cover hinge pin, the cover, and the cover spring. The next part is a pretty big one, the whole fire control group. So everything in this bag, we have the hammer, the trigger, disconnector spring, hammer and trigger pins, the hammer spring, the trigger spring, and I'll be back with the next piece, the safety selector, the detent spring, and the detent pin. So here we have the entire fire control group. Up here we have the hammer, hammer spring, trigger, trigger spring, disconnector spring, disconnector, the hammer and trigger pins, as well as the fire selector, and or the safety selector, and the detent and spring for the safety selector. Next up on the list is a basic A2 style flash hider. Fairly common standard issue. with most ARs. I plan on upgrading this at some point, so if you see a different one at some point along the build process, don't be surprised. Next up on the list is the forward assist assembly. Next thing on the list is the forward assist assembly. We have the forward assist here, forward assist spring, as well as the roll pin. Next up on the list we have the gas block and gas tube, the gas system assembly. We have the gas tube here, the roll pin here, and the gas block, which has the set screws already installed in it, as you can see right there if my camera will focus. So everything is where it's supposed to be. Looks like we have a couple more right here. And that's everything for that. Next thing on the list is the handguard. It appears to be a Leadstar Arms, I want to say maybe a 12-inch handguard. Next up on the list is the magazine catch assembly. So here's the actual magazine catch, the magazine catch spring, and the magazine release button. Next up is this 10-round PMag that you guys sent me with the dummy rounds inside of it because I was playing with it a little bit. Very nice magazine. Next up is the pistol grip, which is a Panther Arms AR grip with the grip screw and lock washer. Next on the list are the pivot and takedown pins. The pivot pin is the larger one. The takedown pin is the smaller one. Here we have the springs. Looks like they gave me one extra spring and one extra detent. Next on the list is the receiver extension assembly. Here we have the receiver extension, the end plate, castle nut, buffer retainer spring, and buffer retainer. Okay, here we have everything for the bolt carrier group assembly. Right here we have the bolt carrier and gas key, as well as the cam pin here. We have the firing pin and firing pin retainer. Here we have one of the roll pins. Or no, this is the this is the extractor pin. Here we have the extractor. I didn't want to take any of the other smaller bits out because I doubt I would have been able to get any of them back in. So there's the extractor. Here we have the actual bolt, as well as the ejector spring, ejector and roll pin. And on the bolt itself, we have all of the gas rings there, as well as all of the O-rings and everything that are involved in holding everything in place that I did not want to mess with just because I'm worried that I will break them. But there's the bolt carrier in most of its basic forms, aside from some of the insanely small things. Next up, we have the stripped upper receiver. Moving on from the actual components of the firearm itself, we have the first set of pin punches that was sent. They appear to be much higher quality than the ones that I was sent earlier in my time with SDI, so I'm probably just going to replace them with these, as well as the other bits that you guys sent for this particular build. They just seem a lot nicer. I have it right here, so we'll just move directly on to the snap caps, or dummy rounds that were sent for the kit to do my function checks without using actual ammunition, of course. Next up on the list are the go and no-go gauges. The armorer's wrench, which you probably saw in one of the last videos I recorded. This is not the one that you guys sent me, but I like this one a lot, so it's probably the one that I'm going to be using. Has all of the necessary bits, but it's just more comfortable for me. The roll pin and pivot pin installation tool, as well as the upper receiver vice block. The AR-10 LR308 receiver vice block. The cleaning rod, which I'm switching to this camera view because it's just so long. You can see the whole thing. I feel like I'm sheathing a sword. The 308 AR bolt ejector tool. The firing pin protrusion gauge. The JAG set. The marking pencil. The marking pencil, which unfortunately broke in shipping. The staking punch. This hex key set. Which has all of them inside. This foot-pounds torque wrench. Very excited to have one of these in my collection. I've been needing one for a while. A Torx key hex set, which you guys sent me a small folding knife style one, but I've had this set for a while that I'm just going to use this one. It has pretty much everything I'm ever going to end up needing for any kind of project like this. And if not, I do have a spare set of metric Allen keys laying around somewhere that I can use for anything that does not fit properly.